Hey, before we go back to the phones, as we've got Scott waiting to talk to us from San Diego, and he wants to talk surprisingly about the Colts and the Patriots like everybody else,
right.
The marquee game today. Let me just remind you that if you go to picknation.com right now, you can take advantage of the free one-day all-access pass and get all of the action from all 13 handicappers, my best bet, Steve's top crew, all their plays for free today with no strings attached simply by clicking on the free one-day all-access pass. Last week, that would have gotten you nearly $700 of action for free. Normally, it's at least $500 of action for free. UC.com. There is no 800 number. There's no 900 number here. It's 100% online business. We're the biggest in the world in sports gambling. Guys, what you see is what you get. There's no salesman. We don't want your phone number. Nobody's going to call you. There's no recorded message. You get the plays, and then the best part is you will see on Monday who won and who lost on every single handicapper's webpage because we have total transparency.
And let me talk about the all-access pass in general a little bit because in and of itself, forgetting about the free trial, but just the all-access pass itself is a very unique item on our site because it allows you for one low price to come in and buy and get the opinions of every single handicapper on the site. Like you said, it's a $500 value, but more importantly, it puts you almost in my position. It makes you kind of involved in it because you become the CEO. You read all the information, and then you decide which handicapper you're going to go with, and it really involves the customer as well. And they say information is power and information is king, and that's true with the All Access Pass. You know every single hot handicapper on the site, what their opinion is, all explained out to you in their analysis, and then you can decide what you want to do and what jives with what you think.
And listen, guys, if you've already taken advantage of the free one-day trial, the all-access pass also has another advantage for you. It's a great way to get the plays from a diverse group of handicappers that are winning guys over long term at a huge discounted price. And I'll give you an example. You know, last Sunday, Craig Davis, who is one of the featured handicappers at PickNation.com, had his fifth straight 100-dime play in the NFL that came through. Another winner, Tampa Bay easily over Carolina. Now, Craig that day, the price of his play was $79. You, for example, had your, which crew what did you have last Sunday? I think it was the Philadelphia crew?
And it was a $69 play.
Right, $69 play, and it was a winner. Now, you could have bought those plays separately and spent $140-some, or for $129, you could have gotten Steve's play, Craig's play, and the plays of 11 or 12 other handicappers, all for the same price. Instead of paying $500, $600, $700 to buy them separately, you get them all for one discounted price, and it's not like there's anything more to buy. You get it, you buy the one-day all-access pass, and what you see is what you get. You get every handicapper as they release their plays for that day. Everything for you, nothing held back.
Right, and sometimes one play isn't enough for gamblers out there. They want a little more action than that. You know, I give them the 1 o'clock winner. I can't leave it up to them to decide who to bet at 4 o'clock. That'd be unfair. So if they have the all-access pass, well, there'll be 4 o'clock plays, there'll be 7 o'clock plays, there'll be multiple plays for them to choose from, and they get all the action they want that they can determine what's right for them.
Back to the phones we go here with Scott in San Diego who joins us. How you doing, Scott?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Great.
Great. Hey, I just wanted to get your guys' take on that Colts-Patriots game coming up this weekend. They always seem to play pretty exciting ball games. I kind of thought the line was a little short at 3.5. I thought maybe it'd be a little closer to 4.5 or 5 coming up. The Patriots' big win, and with the Colts all banged up. What do you guys think?
Well, we've beaten this one like a dead horse, but I mean, you've taken it. You mentioned the first half hour that the total was kind of an interesting play in this contest.
Well, anytime you have a total, right, 50 points or more, it really only takes one sleepy quarter to get the win on the under. You know, where you know, if you're going to bet this over, that means you're ready to commit that these teams, first of all, are going to come out sharp right from the get-go, and they're going to start scoring and never stop. I personally think that's a little bit of a trap. I think the play here is New England. I don't know that it's a little short the price. I think the price is right. I do think there's a little bit of a home field advantage, and we talked about earlier Indianapolis just not being the same team on the road as they are at home. Imperfect conditions, especially this time of the year. It's certainly a lot colder outside than it is inside, and I think that affects them. And I think Peyton Manning, under perfect conditions at home, you know, it's an easy play. They're going to beat New England. I think New England in New England Belichick, very tough to go against. I'm with the caller. I lay the 3.5 here.
You know, and it's interesting because the last road game at Philadelphia 2 weeks ago, I mean, the Eagles jumped on them early. It was a 10-0 game with 5 minutes gone in the game. That's how quick the Eagles pounced on Indianapolis. That's what New England has to do here. New England has to come out with the same fervor that they played with last week at Pittsburgh. They can't come out with that lethargic style that KO'd them at Cleveland 2 weeks ago. And by the way, in terms of the total, I will say, though, you know, the Patriots are 7-2 over this year, largely in part because their defense can't stop anybody. This is a team that's given up like 26 points a game. Surprisingly, the Colts are just 5-4 over because the Colts have had problems putting points on the board because of all the injuries to the receiver core, to the running back core. You essentially have two teams here that don't like to run the ball and can't run the ball 9 times out of 10, and two teams that are going to pass the ball excessively, and that's why you have such a big total. And by the way, in terms of the totals, you know, the totals going over has been the way to go. Last week, 11 of the 14 games went over. The last 2 weeks, 20 of 26 games have gone over in the NFL. Over the past 8 weeks, 69 overs, 42 unders.
I wonder if a lot of that has to do with a lot of these new rules and the referees getting used to them and calling a lot more of these big 15-yard penalties, you know, for roughing and unnecessary roughness and hitting with the helmet. And we're seeing a lot of drives extended by these calls and a lot more points, you know, getting on the board because of it.
You know, I've always felt that in the opening weeks of the season, you lean more toward the under because coaches do not put any value in preseason football. The offenses are always behind the defenses. It's like baseball. Pitchers are always ahead of hitters at the beginning of the year. Defense is always ahead of offense early in the year. But then as the season progresses, you get the offenses that start to get in tune.
Start to click.
And the injuries take their toll on the defense.
Right.
I do think, however, that we have seen an effect somehow play out here ever since the headhunting rule, you know, came down, the edict that, you know, they weren't going to take anything for above the head, all the helmet hits when we had that 4 weeks ago. I mean, 20 out of 26 games the past 2 weeks have gone over. Again,
it favors the offense for a lot of reasons because it's always rewarding the offense. It's never the offensive guy that's spearing the defensive guy. And it also, I think it gives the receivers who go across the middle a little more confidence.
They're not going to get KO'd.
That they're not going to get KO'd. And I think that makes for an opening up of the game as well.
And one more thing I want to talk to you about today, Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. This is the book that Steve Budin authored 3 years ago about his life. Growing up, the son of a bookmaker, being a major bookmaker himself, being the guy that went offshore and created what we now know as the offshore sportsbook industry. What was it, 1994 in Panama?
1994, when a customer called us from Minnesota and made the first play. It was the first time in the history that anyone had called overseas from the United States for purposes of making a bet on football.
If you'd like a free copy of Steve's book, just go to picknation.com, enter your name and address in the customer service area. It says Contact Us, and send us an email. And again, make sure you send us the address. We will send you a book and a money-saving coupon for your next purchase as well, and that's free from us to you. And again, as we've mentioned many times during this show, if you've missed any portion of it, you can go to picknation.com, watch the first 30 minutes, any part of the first 59 minutes that you may have missed. picknation.com. It's available 24/7, and make sure you also take advantage of the free one-day all-access pass. It's an unbelievable value because it's free.
That's right. And Al mentioned it was my birthday as well. We had talked about in the first half hour of the show that the line was 39.5. For those of you that laid the 120 and went over, you're the winner. I'm actually 40 years old today. And that's the number, if you can believe it or not.
Well, look on the bright side. You made it to 40.
I did make it to 40.
This is the encouraging sign. We're not talking about my age. It's not relevant to this program. But all I care about is some of these games go over and I get some covers today. Hey, guys, that's going to do it. Remember, every single Sunday we join you here, Pick Nation Report, breaking down all your NFL games. Al DeMarco, Steve Budin. We'll catch you next week.